Tell us about your vision behind Capstone IAS Academy.
Thank you, Kriba, for that question. This has been in my mind for the last maybe 7 years. In fact, the word capstone has been there in my head since 2014. So the idea was to churn out not just candidates into the IAS or IFS or IPS, or for that matter any civil services. The idea was to bring out value-based officers, who would work for this nation without expectations. That's a reason why I realized that while there are IAS academies across Tamil Nadu and across India, there are not many IAS academies run by IAS officers themselves who have spent years together in the service.
What is different about Capstone IAS Academy in relation to other academies?
So obviously during the pandemic period, the new normal is online learning and online teaching. So that is one of the reasons. The second is that time is the biggest factor in any preparation, and more so in preparation as strenuous as IAS preparation. So the moment you step out of home to reach an IAS academy, you can take it from me that you are wasting at least 2 hours, unless you are plugged on all the time with your content, etc., but which doesn't really happen. So if you are staying in the comfort of your home, and if you have the luxury of that being provided by your parents, then staying at home and listening to teachers who are themselves IAS, IPS, IFS officers, IRS officers, who have experienced for many years, not just a few years. These are the officers who have spent 20, 30 years in the service, and who took the decision to come out and start teaching as a passion.
Talk to us about the importance of IAS officers teaching aspirants as against just professional teachers teaching students.
See, the difference is of one of actual experience versus perceived experience. So this is what I would like to tell all the aspirants, that somebody who is teaching you from outside is actually watching an officer in action and assuming that this is the possible course of action, etc. Whereas when I teach, for example, I would bring real life experiences which I have undergone as an IAS officer. So that's huge in terms of takeaways. So there's no artificiality about it. There's complete naturality, because these are officers who have spent time in the field, time in policy making, etc. And you can take it as if from the horse's mouth.
How many years of civil services experience do you have, Dr.?
I joined the service in 1995, so that should make it around 26 years of experience. I've served, the last was as Principal Secretary, Information Technology Department. So from the field to the policy making level, I've spent time in government.
26 years is a long time. When you turn back and look at 26 years, what do you think are some of the most cherished achievements in your mind?
See, I have been an innovator all through my career. So I bring that flavor into government service. It's not as if somebody is asking me to do these things, but I bring huge amounts of information. I would say 360 degree transformation is what I bring to the table. It can be in pure administration, or it can be policy making. It can be anything that the job offers. I would like to dwell deep into it, bring teams into it, not only from the government sector, from the private sector, from the NGOs. So bring varied opinions and experiences, and then take a strategic shift so that the organization achieves its objectives more efficiently.
Now, one of your deep passion is teaching, and that's a rare combination for an IAS officer to be passionate about teaching. How did this passion start?
I have always thought of myself as a very good speaker on stage. I'm a TED speaker thrice, but this is a different area, and you can't really compare a speaker to a teacher, and that takes a lot of different approach, etc. I didn't know that I had this teacher in me until I started teaching, and I realized I could speak extempo for 3.5 hours together, and without making the students bored. And public administration being my forte, both as an experience and as a discipline, I think I bring the experience of both being in the government and listening to policymakers, etc., into the job, and that gives us an edge over any educator.
Tell us about your pet subject, public administration or PubAd.
See, public administration, if you put it very simply, it's about politics administration dichotomy. That's what Woodrow Wilson, the father of public administration, brought forth to the world. This essential difference is what we all need to understand. There is the politician who talks about policies, and there is the bureaucrat who talks about implementing those policies. So, if you are clear in these areas, then there should be smooth sailing, but that is not the case. Public administration is always an interplay between the powers of the politician and the powers of the bureaucrat. So, it is very interesting, it is very beautiful, and if you look at some of the theorists who have put forward the theories, it is amazing how it was when it it started off as a discipline and how it is today, and the contributions are immense. Somebody like a Frederick Taylor or a Weber or a Mary Parker Foley or a Henry Fayol or Chris Bernard or Simon, they bring different flavors of experiences, and they thought at some point that these are the one size fits all policies for any part of the world, and then they realized that when they tried to implement in third world countries, India, Africa, etc., it miserably failed because the circumstances are different. So that's where comparative public administration came into being. So then public policy making. So all these are part of public administration, and there are two parts to it: theory part, which are public administration theories by these renowned names, and then there are Indian administration. There is Indian administration. So when you try to extrapolate it, you get a beautiful feel of the subject.
Sure. Now you want to build Capstone IAS Academy as a social enterprise. Tell us what you mean by that.
See, most of us start business with obviously a commercial edge in mind. Nothing wrong with that. I think that should be the base. But you are looking at a situation. Students have the aspiration to write this examination, but they don't have the wherewithal to approach an IAS Academy because of the costs involved. So I have taken a very conscious view that my organization will keep this social aspect slightly above the commercial aspect. A commercial aspect is absolutely required to keep the organization going and growing. But then I should not lose sight of the fact that there are n number of very, very talented youngsters who are out there, who are sitting below a tree and learning, who are sitting below a lamp and learning, who don't have the money to pay for it. And I'm seeing it when I started the academy. Lots of the youngsters called me and said, my dad has lost his job. Can you do this favor? Can you reduce it? Can you give me installments, etc. Then I realized that this is an absolutely different ball game that I'm looking at compared to what I started off with. So that's where it turned my mind into saying that it will be a social enterprise first and a commercial enterprise later.
Got it. And one last question, Dr. Santhosh. You have your vision of turning Capstone into an edu-tech company. So talk to us about your bigger vision for this company.
Yeah, so like everything today, transformation is possible only through technology. So if we can bring SaaS software as a service to different educational institutions that are struggling with learning management systems, if you can develop apps, etc., if you can develop different mods or modules of training, etc., through using technology, then the students and the teachers alike would benefit from it, because as I said, the only resource available to humankind or mankind or animal kind or plant kind is the 24 hours. The President of America, you, me, the man on the street, everybody has the 24 hours. So if we can make time available to people, apart from their sleeping hours and their exercise hours and their leisure hours, if we can make time available to students and teachers, I think it can be done only through tech. And that's what I would like to bring into this Capstone IAS Academy, bring lots and lots of technology into it to benefit our students and our teachers alike.
Wish you the absolute very best, Dr. Santhosh.
Thank you, Kriba.